Hello and welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, it's been a very long while since we've had a discussion on COVID, and I'm really crossing my fingers that this actually continues. Today, we're going to be taking a stock because it's post Diwali. It's been a few months since that drastic second wave, but the cases I think we are recording an average of about 9,000 plus cases daily in a week. Sorry, that's the 7-day average. So that's really come down a lot from, say, we'd hit about cumulative or 30 lakh cases. So in that sense, cases are coming down, but at the end of the day, it is Diwali season. It is also wedding season. Is it a time to be worried, time to be cautious? Because are we all throwing our masks to the wind and thinking, chalo, we've beaten COVID once again? Or should we be a little more cautious and more realistic? Joining me on the show is Dr. Tarun Sani. He heads the Department of Internal and Hyperbaric Medicine at the Apollo Hospital. Dr. Harsh Mahajan, he is a chief radiologist and owner or founder of Mahajan Imaging. And Dr. Romel Tikku, he is director internal medicine at Max Hospital. Dr. Sani, I'll begin with you. How would you describe the state today? Should we be relieved the worst is over? Or is there some third, or should we be wary of a third wave, or should we go out with caution?
I think, there is what we can say, a cautious optimism is prevailing. And I think that is based on a couple of facts. One is the fact that a significant amount of the population has been infected. And they've been vaccinated. So, if you're looking at something like, host immunity as a word, it'll be difficult to define it. So from that point of view, there is definitely optimism in the air. The challenge is that this optimism should not translate into absolutely being reckless and we again having to face what we faced, earlier in this year there. There is an increase in number of cases. Fortunately, the number of cases is not very rapid and the severity of the disease is also not so much. But I definitely believe we need to be cautious. We haven't closed the chapter on COVID as yet.
Okay, Dr. Mahajan, which brings me to the next question. How is the pace of vaccinations going? Because, a lot of, in the middle when there was a frenzy, people were running, a lot of vaccinations were ordered by private hospitals. What is happening to that? Are people still being serious about the vaccinations, or has that rate dropped a bit?
Priya, I think we as a country have done very, very well as far as vaccination goes, despite all the constraints that we had. I think we've done nearly 110 crore doses, which is a huge number. Having said that, this country showed on Prime Minister Modi's birthday that we could put in 2.4 crore jabs in one day. Today, that average is around 50 lakhs. So 1/5 nearly of what we have the capability of giving. And so from that point of view, I think the vaccination has slowed down. Some of it could be due to the fact that the numbers have come down. So, that fear of getting the infection has gone down. Two, even though the private sector in the beginning did contribute quite a bit to the vaccination effort, at the present point of time, because in the private sector, the vaccines have to be paid for, and the cost is significant. For Covishield, it is 780 rupees. And for Covaxin, the homebred vaccine, it's 1,400 some rupees. So that's significant when you take 2 or 3 member family. So in the private sector, the vaccination drive has kind of really reduced. And it is also due, in fact, to the point that in the public sector, the government sector, the vaccination drive is happening very efficiently and also is free of charge. So if you had a choice of 3 members of a family going to a nearby school or a nearby, vaccination center of the government to get it done for free, as compared to having to pay in a private sector, I think the choice is very obvious. So that's one reason where I think somehow one has to relook as to how to bring the private sector in to have last mile connectivity. We had thought at one point of time that single doctor clinics, pediatricians, they would all come into the fold. That hasn't happened. So I think, as Dr. Sani also said, he talks of cautious optimism. The caution, I think, is not up to the mark where we require it at the present point of time, because even though India is in a very good position right now, but so were we in January, February, and beginning of March, and then you saw what happened. So the vaccination drive needs to pick up from 50, 60 lakhs a day. Again, at least to 1 crore a day if we are to achieve the targets that we've set for ourselves.
So maybe they should do what they did earlier, which is, subsidize the vaccinations in the private hospitals also, at least get more vaccinations going, perhaps.
That is definitely a point. The second thing which I want to point out is that there are lakhs of doses which are lying, with private hospitals across the country. And these are not being put in arms. And some of them may be nearing their expiry date. So one needs to very quickly take a decision, the government does, on how to use these, because nothing should go waste. It's so very valuable. It's more valuable than gold at the present point of time.
Well said. Dr. Tikku, what is the position? You are also on the ground really handling COVID cases. How many cases do you have at current? What is the situation now?
Well, for the last 3 months, we've hardly had any COVID cases, to be honest. But for the last week or 10 days, now cases have started coming in, not needing hospitalization, but for virtual consultation. Earlier, it was almost zero. But at present, I have at least 5-7 patients under me or under home isolation. Most of them are having mild to moderate disease, which doesn't need hospitalization. Saturations are fine. But then cases have started coming in. And that's what all the experts had said earlier, that post the festive season, we always see there's a spike in the numbers because gatherings happen and people have become a little complacent. One, because they think everyone has had most of us have had the infection and then the vaccination has happened. So it cannot happen to them. But that's not true, because all the 8 patients are under home isolation right now under me have been vaccinated fully, but they still have the disease, and some of them have a pneumonia also, though mild. So to think that we won't get it because we've been vaccinated does not make sense. Yes, it will prevent you from getting hospitalized, which it is doing 100% almost. But you have to be careful. You don't have to get complacent. We've seen post the festive season and even otherwise in the second wave. And look at UK, Russia, China.
Yes.
I mean, look at their cases. Russia is again having 30,000-40,000. UK is almost 30,000 cases a day. US 50,000 to almost 1 lakh cases on certain days. So if it can happen to them, it can happen to us. And we have to think of the worst and prepare ourselves. And as Dr. Mahajan rightly said, we've done very well with the vaccination. And the focus right now should be on getting the second jab to those people, giving it to them who need it. It's been overdue for almost 12 crore people as of now. And then we have to cover the ones who haven't had it for whatever reasons, availability or hesitancy. We have to overcome that as well. So 75 crores have got the first dose, 35 crores have gotten the 2 doses. So we have to be more aggressive in the next 3-4 months. We have to finish. But overall, if you look at the scenario, last 3 months back, we had 45,000 cases a day. And now we're at less than 15,000 cases a day for the last 2 weeks. And before that, it was less than 20,000 for about a month. So we're doing well. We're doing well with the vaccination, but the number should go up. It shouldn't be 50 lakhs, as Dr. Martin said. We have to bring it up to at least 1 crore. But there are positives. Apart from the vaccination, the Bharat Biotech vaccine, our own indigenous vaccine, has been given not by the WHO. And even the findings have been published in Lancet now. So there's no hesitancy about taking it. And it's already been given in so many countries. Apart from that, maybe we'll have a molnupiravir soon with us, which will also get a nod. That's an antiviral tablet, which is given early enough in the first 5 days, and it prevents the virus from getting replicated. And that's something which we really need, an oral antiviral drug, which has not been approved till now. So there are lots of positives, but again, for the next 1 year, we have to keep doing what we're doing. COVID appropriate behavior, vaccination, stay away from crowded places, and wear a mask. Even now, people are not wearing a mask. I would say that's very, very important. And for the next 2 weeks, we have to be very vigilant, because right now, apart from COVID, I mean, COVID hardly is there. The cases have started coming. We're dealing with lots of dengue patients right now.
That's the new.
Lots of dengue, especially in the last 2 weeks. We've had 1,200 cases in the month of October and almost 1,200 in the first week of November till now. And even now, every day, people are getting admitted. The emergencies are full of dengue patients. So we have to be extremely careful. And the dengue 2 strain is more virulent. It causes multi-organ failure, liver failure. We've had lots of such patients coming in. And the winter setting in, the temperatures going down, lots of pollution, lots of elderly people, lots of people with asthma, COPD, getting acute exacerbation of their symptoms. Almost everybody's having a sore throat. They're coughing, they're having some sort of sneezing. I mean, all this is happening right now. It's almost a double whammy, pollution, then dengue, and you don't need another spike of COVID at this point of time. Then that will lead to a disaster.
That's really true. If anything, he's really on the ground handling the situations also. So, all of you know how bad it is. So we don't need another third wave happening right now. But Dr. Sahni, how do you see, in terms of the medication, Dr. Tikku talked about some of the antiviral drugs coming in. Are you a little hopeful that we may soon have a situation where, like your flu vaccine, you just take this every year?
I think the eventual outcome is really going to be that COVID will be like any other common influenza. It's a virus and you get it and you have an antiviral, vaccine. I think the long-term goal is really where it's going to be. I mean, we had H1N1, which was swine flu. And, there was a time when we were so paranoid about swine flu, the whole, the world had closed down. Singapore had completely shut down. And over a period of time, H1N1 is not gone away. It's still there. But it's just one of the, diseases which happens. So influenza, H1N1, COVID, and like Dr. Tikku, appropriately said, it's business for usual as far as dengue and pollution and COPD and asthma is concerned. And, with this entire backdrop of COVID, there needs to be definitely much more care taken by the community itself, because a lot of these are community acquired infections. And if we have to take the first step to prevent them from happening, whether it is COVID by COVID appropriate behavior, whether it is anti-mosquito measures in your own houses, or the Zika virus or the influenza vaccine, making sure that you take it. I think we as a community, as a society, have to take on this onus, and we cannot just leave it to the government to implement all these guidelines.
Which is the case, Dr. Mann, in terms of, he spoke about the new cases, dengue, Zika virus, etc. So there are, more and more cases on the rise. So do you see masks, at the moment, what would you say is your biggest fear? Is it dengue? Is it Zika virus? Is it COVID?
I think right now, if we look at Delhi, it is dengue, which is really causing a lot of concern because it's a very serious disease. It leads to hospitalization. You need transfusion of platelets and so much supportive care. And the cases have really skyrocketed. But we cannot lose sight of the fact that if, there were to be a spike in COVID at the same time, just imagine what it would be like. Someone having a combination of the two. And as Dr. Tikku pointed out, the pollution is, the third arbiter in this situation. Zika, I think, is still in localized areas and fortunately hasn't led to any severe disease. We don't have, any report of microcephaly happening in pregnant ladies. And it's really, and I think the state governments are also on top of this, that they are trying to, localize it. But I think since these others are all mosquito-borne diseases, we need to do something drastic about breeding of mosquitoes. And how that will happen in this polluted atmosphere, you are spraying more. But, we are, beggars can't be choosers. We have to really go about handling this. But again, COVID, if it comes, is so contagious, especially the Delta variant as we know it. Hopefully, we have developed good immunity against the Delta variant itself, which devastated us from April to June. But, there is nothing against a new variant coming up, and international travel is open. Today, we are more scared of these people who are coming from outside than of those who are traveling within the country, because they may come up with something new, which may lead to further spread of the disease. So caution and masking. Masks actually protect against any strain, be it a new strain, a old strain, a more virulent strain, a less virulent strain. So masking, which, unfortunately we are seeing, is again back to the January, February levels where everyone feels we are fine and there's no disease. But mask will protect, and also, Priya, the N95 mask, which is now freely available. And I say this, we couldn't buy it for 500 rupees when the pandemic started. Today, you can easily get it for 25 rupees, and there's no shortage. This also protects very, very well against pollution. So it's doing a double service, protects against infections as well as protects against pollution. So I would really implore everyone to start wearing a N95 mask. In the beginning, we used to reserve this only for the medical personnel because there was a shortage. Today, fortunately, in our country, we have so much indigenous production under the Atmanirbhar scheme that we are exporting them. So we should wear this, and this can be worn on multiple days.
We are discussing COVID and what to look for, what is in store for us really in the coming months. Dr. Tipu, the question about long COVID, do we now have some kind of an idea as to how long the symptoms last, and are people recovering? They stop complaining about it?
Well, not really, but most of them have actually recovered. So, but there are still, I would say, 20 to 30% who are still having some persistent symptoms. And the most common symptom still remains fatigue, some sort of breathlessness, chest discomfort, aches and pains, headaches, insomnia, and some sort of anxiety, depressive tendency, GI problems. Some are having nausea, some are still having diarrhea. So, but majority, I would say, within 6 months would recover. And there's 20-25% which will have some lingering symptoms for the next 6 months as well. But as of now, we don't have much data on post-COVID, how long it will last and things like that. But eventually with time, we will get to know. But yes, 6 months, I would say on average, usually people have, but it can last 2 months, 3 months. We can't really predict that. But the best part is because we haven't had COVID for the last so many months now. So there won't be any post-COVID as well. And we know how to deal with it. There's no specific treatment as such, but yes, people have also started, they're getting aware, they know what they have to do. They have to eat well, sleep well, take care of the immunity, do yoga, meditation, things like that. And eventually it gets better. So let's hope that...
And have you decided no steroids or steroids with
not in the post-COVID phase. Steroids are very useful when you have respiratory distress, ongoing pneumonia, saturations are dipping, inflammatory markers are going up. Definitely. I mean, till now we've had only the steroids, which have been life-saving. Otherwise, we would have been in a soup, really, to say the fact that we used so much of steroids in the second wave, we were able to save so many patients. It has its pitfalls. I mean, the side effects and those fungal infections and things like that. But then it is a lifesaver in COVID, and we don't have any other drugs. Specifically, even remdesivir and plasma and things like that haven't really been proven to be effective, and they're not recommended anymore in most of the countries. Even WHO doesn't approve of them now. And but we do still use it because we have nothing in hand. But as I said earlier, if we have oral antiviral pills, which is handy, cheap, and we can use them initially in the first 4-5 days, that is going to be a game changer. Even Pfizer is coming up with some antiviral drug. So hopefully in the next few months, we'll get a nod for the antiviral drugs. But yes, we have to be aggressive again. We're doing well with testing also. So we have to keep testing. Whoever has flu-like symptoms, keep testing, tracking, tracing, follow code, appropriate behavior, and vaccination. I would say now we have to go very aggressive with vaccination. We should.
Is it now time for the booster dose?
I think at some point, yes. Post 6 months of the second jab, most of the countries are doing it. But India has its own limitations. We have to prioritize. We have to give it to those people first who haven't had the first shot, and then the ones who need the second shot. And yes, at some point, I think they're thinking about giving a booster soon. The recommendations will come from the government, and hopefully we'll get it at some point. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. But right now, I would say at least give it to those people who haven't had the first jab, those who are due for the second jab. And now we have enough doses with us, and the manufacturing is happening here. We have the Serum Institute, the Bharat Biotech, and hopefully, yes, I think at some point, booster dose will be given to Indians as well. Maybe not 6 months, maybe 8 months, whatever, but yes, it will be given at some point.
Tarun, you were also speaking about the fact that we've built in some sort of immunity. How long does the vaccination last? The antibodies from the vaccination, and secondly, is the immunity that we are building up or whatever it is it going to just make us get less serious COVID, or is it going to how long does it last basically though?
I think the verdict on how long the immunity lasts is still not out. Nobody knows how long it lasts. Like Dr. Tikku said, I think it gives us coverage for about 6 months of period of time, by which time a booster is needed. I think in the United States, all healthcare workers 6 months from their second dose have been permitted to take the booster dose. I know a lot of my colleagues in the institution and friends, doctors who have already taken a booster here as well. Although I think the government directive on it will only come out based on the national priorities of first dose, second dose, and then the booster. So I don't think the verdict on that is clear as to how long the immunity will last. I think the second thing which Dr. Mahajan brought out well was we are very apprehensive about a variant. Suddenly a brand new variant comes out, or we import it from some other country because international travel has started. Now that variant could be totally different, and our existing immunity may not protect us against it. So I think that is an uncanny unrest which is there among all of us, that just praying this particular vaccine, this particular strain, we are being able to handle it. Let's not get a strain which puts all of us again at an additional risk. So immunity will take a little time to get clarity on how long it lasts, but everyone is saying prevention, prevention, prevention. Let's stop it from spreading. Let's stop it from growing. Take precautions even on international travel, and let's hope whatever existing immunity we have, that should protect us in the long run.
Dr. Mahajan, you're on a lot of boards also. So what is the thinking on the booster shot? You may have an idea.
See, the booster shot is necessary. We know that. We have to respect the committees which the government has, which not only look at booster in isolation. You have to look at the entire vaccination program, see who all require it. As has been said, about 12 crore of people who had one jab haven't come in for the second jab. So these guys are not well protected. So the first thing is that they come in, and then there are others who've just not come in even for the first jab. I mean, we've done nearly 80% of the adult population with the first jab. Then with schools opening, there is that large mass of children who are unvaccinated, and we do have, the Zydus vaccine, the DNA vaccine, which is now been given emergency clearance for children between 12 and 18 years of age, and also Covaxin should soon be cleared for 2 to 18 years. So this is also another large group. However, having said that, within the medical fraternity, there is this feeling that we should be permitted booster dose, both the frontline as well as the healthcare workers. Because remember, we were the earliest to get the dose. Yes. So the first dose was given in Jan, the second in Feb. So we are nearly 9 months down the line. And if we look at the rest of the world, where they say after 6 months you deserve a booster, we are already 9 months. And even though the numbers are low, we are not exposed so much, but you never know. And like Dr. Tarun said, prevention, prevention, prevention. We don't want a situation where, again, the healthcare workers get caught first and then the disease spreads. But I think the government is also well aware of this fact, and they will bring things into play as the country needs.
We hope. But Dr. Tikku, last word to the cases that are coming in. Is there any way that you can categorize them? Are they, healthcare workers? Are they belonging to a certain age group? Are they, somewhere you can? Is there a pattern here?
Well, most of them are young, and some of them actually have a travel history outside of Delhi. Some have come from UK, some have come from US, and I think it's they're the ones who've been traveling, who've been up and about mobile, and it's usually the young crowd. I'm yet to see the elderly population as of now in the last week or so getting COVID. And that's why I said we have to be extremely careful. The gatherings and the festival season, the wedding season coming up, we have to be extremely vigilant, careful, because you might be young, you might be double vaccinated, but if you bring it back home and give it to your elderly parents, grandparents, they might have comorbidities, they can get in trouble and they might actually need hospitalization. And as I said earlier, we don't need it. This is the last thing we need. Dengue, pollution-related issues, and now we don't need COVID. So keep doing what we've been doing. Wear a mask, stay at home as much as possible, and follow whatever the government guidelines are.
On that note, as we step into winter, that's a grave note of caution to take with us. But thank you all for joining us and giving us this update, and thank you for watching the show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.